Hi everybody, this is KillRed40, and I just realized I've never talked about Limbo on the internet before, so I'm going to talk about it. Ever since I picked up Limbo back in 2010, I've had an on and off relationship with it. This game, I think, looks amazing, and it has some really great concepts to it. Some of the gameplay is really fun too, but my issue was that it was just so damn difficult, and I would die constantly. Under normal circumstances, this would not be a problem for me. I love games that are incredibly hard, incredibly difficult, and just punishing all around, but more on that later. The thing that drew me to this game was the amazing aesthetic and how beautiful it looks. Everything looks amazing. It's just this awesome art style that I've never seen in a video game before Limbo, and I still haven't seen a decade later. Top that off with the amazing, beautiful sound design, which makes it feel like you're in the game at all times. While you're exploring this world, you'll be exploring these industrial hellscapes that are incredibly oppressive and just downright evil and villainous. To me, this setting is what makes the game so great, and I really love how much they were able to do with this really simple art style. Along with the setting, they also have these kind of fun characters that are just all evil and they all want to kill this kid. I don't know what he did to piss them off, but they're all incredibly scary. One highlight that I can think of is this spider that you see at the very beginning of the game. I hated this thing. It scared the shit out of me every time I saw it. It was terrifying as it ran towards you, even at one point catching the boy and putting him in some webs and kind of impeding your progress so that you can't move as well. You had to hop. Another character that you're introduced to is a little girl or a woman. I'm not quite sure. There's a lot of speculation online of who this character is and what relationship they have with the main character, but we're never quite told who they are. The boy's goal throughout the whole game is to find this character, and I thought that that was kind of a really cool idea, and I really liked that idea. There's a couple more characters in the game that are all kids trying to kill this kid. Once again, we're never given any specifics of why this is happening or for what reason, but it does remind me a lot of Lord of the Flies just because of how young they are and the brutal violence that is on display here. That brings me to the biggest deterrent of playing this game and even finishing this game for me. The violence is so brutal and so downright nasty that sometimes it made me want to quit playing, and for a decade it actually succeeded in doing that. I personally do not like seeing this kid get killed over and over and over again. I do respect the creative choice of doing it because it's kind of ballsy and it really narrows down what kind of audience you're gonna get. I'm really surprised that this got a rated T rating because some of these kills that happen are really just violent and kind of disgusting, and it breaks my heart to watch. But that's just a part of the game, and also what you could argue makes it special. When this kid dies, it adds to that oppressive atmosphere that I previously mentioned, and it shows that this world is incredibly dangerous and it's a place that you do not want to be in. And I can respect that, but after a while, it just got really tiring seeing this kid get killed. In order for me to talk about this more in depth, I'm gonna have to get into spoilers. So if you haven't played this yet, go check it out if you think this is okay for you. Right here, I'm going to show the more milder deaths. Later on in the video, we're going to get into the more graphic details because that's a part of the game. But just be aware, this game is incredibly graphic and you're going to see some terrible things. Some of my favorite parts in this game are where the boy wakes up and sees this girl and he decides to go after her. I think it kind of sets this melancholy mood that is just underlining the entire game. The art direction in this is really well done because you can tell that this boy has some sort of relationship with the girl just by looking at it. There's no dialogue that needs to happen. Now, moving on, the next part that I really enjoyed, which I already had brought up, was the spider part in the forest. This is really tense and just scary. This spider is disturbing. You progress onwards and you find this group of boys. They try to kill you. This part was kind of cool. I liked this idea of these kids just kind of being wild and carnal and crazy. Like I said, like the Lord of the Flies. I really enjoyed that, but the part that I liked the most was when they decide to chase after you and you lure them into different traps. I just like this because of the brutality and how disturbing it is. I don't think I'll ever forget this. When I originally played this in 2010, I didn't think I would remember it all these years, but I still remember the exact sequence of how to do it just because of how shocking this is. There's a point point later in the game where you have to start messing with these kind of gravity type things, and there's a part where the whole building starts to turn incredibly slowly as the ambient noise just ramps up. It's really scary, really disturbing. I'm not quite sure what made it so intense, but it was really intense, and I remember it almost made me just want to quit, especially after dying a couple times. It doesn't help anything that they throw in some buzzsaws, which kill the boy in the most graphic ways in the game. Really, really intense and really frightening. Now, my problems come when a lot of these puzzles have to do with a lot of trial and error, and I don't really like that considering the punishment that you get with these animations. I don't like seeing this kid die over and over again. I don't think anybody would, and I know that the developers planned on this. It's not very fun to have to do a puzzle where you get punished over and over and over again for experimentation. I do appreciate how varied and how interesting the puzzles are, but I think that the punishment is just too much for how much you have to tinker with the mechanics. Now, the cherry on top of this sundae is the ending, which you get to the girl and then essentially the game ends. You don't see what happens with the girl. You don't see that he's with the girl. You don't learn anything about her. I just didn't understand what the purpose of this was. I can see maybe he's in limbo, so therefore he's just in a never-ending cycle of torment and torture, but I didn't really learn anything. And that's my main issue, is I don't understand what is with all of the shocking stuff. I do appreciate that they did it, especially in the 2010s when games were under attack for all sorts of things, and they still are today. And I appreciate the violence and what they did to push the artistic merits of games forward, but I don't understand what purpose the violence was for. I wish that I did, because then I would be able to enjoy this game a lot more. Now, with all of this said, and with my slight nitpicking and kind of bitching about the game, I have to say that it is very, very memorable. I picked this up in 2010. I played it probably around 2015, and now I'm back here playing it again, and I was surprised by how much I was able to remember just because of how awesome the level design was and how memorable and terrifying this whole world is. I think that if you want a memorable, unique experience, check out Limbo. But if this sounds way too intense for you, I don't really think that it's anything that you should venture out of your way to try and experience, because I'm not sure if there's much to learn from this one. I still enjoyed it. Go check it out if you think this sounds awesome. Anyways, this is KillRed40 signing out.